How's it going, everyone? It's G's Monster, and today I'm going to be coming at you with a VainGlory video on how to place scout traps, where to place scout traps, and strategically how to help your team win by placing scout traps. Now, I am in the solo play, so what I'm going to be talking about is early game. So let's talk about early game. For early game scout traps, you do this camp right here, and then you go down here, hit this camp, come all the way down, and we're going to hit this camp down here, and then we're walking by, we're going to come say hi to the little camp right here. So now at the shop, it is very important for your first buy to go down to consumables as a roamer and buy a scout trap or two. Now let's say they have an early invade. You're going to want to place a scout trap towards this area of the bush so that if they walk right into the bush, they're going to hit a scout trap and get hit with a scout trap right into the face. Now, if you can play that area off nicely, there's a couple different spots you can play. Now, you can put a scout trap down to this corner right here, and it'll give you vision into their bush without them usually breaking it. Because as you'll see, if they come over and buy, they'll stop towards the top side. And if you can place it in the correct area down here, it'll give you vision of them, but it won't pop them. So you can do the same thing over on this side as well by placing it down there. We're just going to buy 2 scout traps. Make sure we have enough. Always want to buy them. Now, another nice thing to do is when you're counter jungling, to leave a scout trap at that area. So let's say there's a Taka. If they come over and use their A ability on the double trolls right here, they might pop it if the trap is towards right on top of them. But if you place it down to the bottom side, the chances of their Catherine or Arden coming up and hitting them and pulling them back is much greater. So you'll leave that there. A typical one is down here towards this corner side, but what you want to do is try to trick them. So you might think about putting one there. If it doesn't get popped, that's great. But if you can put a trap towards this side over here and it stays there for a while, then hey, that's an added bonus for you. One thing you don't normally see is people putting a scout traps down the back side over here. That's another nice trap to put as well. Coming up around this corner, you'll see some people do take this path. So what you want to do is you want to put the trap about 2 or 3 steps outside of it, because then if they're doing the jungle leash this way, they'll walk up and their unit will hug the wall so that the trap will stay there nicely, and then you can do this camp as well. Another spot, if you're counter jungling this side, if you're coming up this way, the minion mine has begun. You can put the trap down towards the top side over here or in the back corner. I don't think I have enough time to kill it. Oh, we can kill it pretty quickly. I am level 11 or level 12. You can put it towards the top side so that they don't have to deal with that. Another nice trap placement is down this side over here, not in this bush necessarily, but you can put one right here as well, because then let's say they just did this over here, and if they're going to go up the top side, they'll miss that trap. Or it's the same concept down here. They'll walk through and around. So if you're thinking about that pathing right here, you can put a trap about a foot or 2 in front of that spot, because usually what people do is they'll come down here, they'll check it. Oh, there's no mine. Let's go up here. Check that spot. Oh, no mine. Let's go up here. Check that spot. Oh, no mine. Okay, I'm going to go to the jungle. So that's another spot that you can try to trick people with as well. Or another one you see a lot in the higher solo queue, or like up towards POA, is the trap over here, or the trap on the backside here, or the trap over here as well. I'll drop my contraption trap right there. So those are another 3 traps you'll see people going from the tri-bush to the lane to really utilize where you're dropping your traps in different spots. Now let's talk about the laners area and where. Oh, hold on. There's one more trap I want to use, and I'm going to use my speed boots to get all the way to it. The backside. I didn't get to talk about that. So in the backside jungle, there's a couple different spots. So if they're coming up this way, you'll see the usual spot is right up here, right? So a lot of people have started to look for that. One of the spots that you can start to see, I've seen come around now, is out towards this side, because nobody really comes around the back of this crystal area right here. So you can put one on that area as well. If you're early jungle invading and you want to get a trap that they're never going to hit for, like, let's say the first 5 or 10 minutes even, you can place one on the minion mine to give you added vision, because nobody in higher tiers, I'm not going to say nobody does, but majority of the time that mine will stay there for the first 5 to 10 minutes at least. Now, another spot that you might see people use, if you get a Taka that's really, if your Taka is really getting into the enemy side, you can put a mine there, because when they path from their base to the first camp, you'll notice they'll walk right by it, but they won't even hit it. So that's another mine that you can tell when people get into their jungle. Now, one of the bushes that you can put down a mine early is possibly right there, because from this mine, if they do it backwards, if they start from the item shop and go all the way back, they'll walk right by it. So these are just some places that you guys might want to start to take notice of, because I've seen a lot of people they're as a roamer, they're like, oh, a roamer buys 1 to 2 scout traps and then they're done. But sometimes you'll see roamers, and you'll see junglers as well, counter invade, drop trap after trap. I've walked through tri bushes before, and I've stood in 4 or 5 traps in a tri bush just because you're trying to pop them, but at the same time, the roamer and the jungler are buying scout traps. So those are good tactics to have, especially if you can partner up with somebody and go into solo queue and you can get on the same page. I've had people, when I was leveling my accounts, quit games because of how many scout traps that I've placed down. I'll have 1 or 2 items, but I'll also be putting down a lot of scout traps at the same time. Now, I know I am talking here about these traps. You'll see the typical ones in the tri bush, the 3 corners. But one of the things that you can get, guys, is you can put the scout trap right here on the edge of the tri bush, and you'll notice that the gold mine will not go away. Now over here, it can't reach it. It doesn't reach that spot because you don't actually get around the corner in the tri-bush. So that is one advantage to having this side of the map. You can get yourself sneaking right onto the edge of that, not get noticed, and put the trap right there. But if you want to, take the step outside of it, the usual spot right on the edge, or you'll see people put it all the way up in the corner, hopefully not getting taken out, or the other one, you'll put it right in front so that if it does get popped, the gold mine will get aggroed as well. So that's another strategy you can have towards this. Now, one thing I'd like to talk about is, let's say, late game scout traps. Where are you going to put them late game? Well, we just lit our whole jungle up with early, mid game, and late game scout traps, guys. But one of the important scout trap placements that we have not talked about is the lane scout trap. Now, I'll talk about the early lane scout traps. Now, you'll notice that a lot of people will hug the wall here. So when they go into this bush, they'll hug the wall all the way up. One of the interesting scout traps that I have seen a lot of people use is this one. You have the typical one right there or right there, but another one I have seen people drop is the scout trap right here, so that if they walk by, they're potentially not going to hit it, but also if it does come up, if somebody comes up through lane and tries to get into the bush, they'll get noticed as well. So that is one that's a different style. And then another one you'll see is the one in the middle of the lane. Now, the middle of the lane one is very interesting because, especially for late game, it helps. Let's say they push. You lose a team fight and you're gonna run. Well, the enemy team comes into lane and now they're walking through the lane. They'll trigger your scout traps with the minions on top of them. So potentially the scout trap is gonna pop a bunch of the minions that are in the lane, so that you don't have to deal with them and keep your turrets alive a little bit longer. Now, a nice thing you have, I don't know if you have seen this, but I've seen this a lot. You'll put the defensive scout traps for laners. They'll put them on the corners of the turret or towards the bot side of the turret in pretty much like a line fashion. This will give you defensive maneuvers and a lot of good damage. Let's say you're a laner and you're trying to run from a gank from a Taka, or a over aggressive Taka, Catherine, or over aggressive Cruel, and they have low health or decent health, but you wanna give yourself the advantage. This scout trap placement right here is very crucial to help keep you safe and potentially alive, because these traps, you walk right back onto them and they'll blow up and die. Another nice trap to use is this jungle up here. You'll see a lot of people don't really utilize the scout traps, and I know that one thing that you'll see a big difference in low skill levels, skill 1, 2, 3, 4, from skill levels higher up like 8, 9, and 10, is their ability to place traps and not get them found in different areas so that people won't end up popping them. Now, I'm placing traps in certain areas where people take the path of down this way and hit and kill this. And then they'll also come back this way. So you want to think about potentially maybe putting a trap in the all of the pathways, around the pathways that people will take, because you don't want those traps to be found right away. So guys, this is a video on how to use traps early, mid, and late game, and it's just a conversational video. I just really want to raise awareness for a lot of lower level people. When I stream the game and I'm doing viewer games and I'm just watching people maybe put 1 or 2 traps down, that's okay. I'm in the individual play mode right now. I've got 11,000 gold on me. I'm just showing you guys where potential trap spots are, because I don't think a lot of people recognize the certain power and ability scout traps have. Now, it's also nice to talk about flares, but I'm not going to go around flaring different areas for 12 minutes and talk about a video on flares. What I will say about flares is, if you have a Taka, an enemy Taka on their team, guys, let's say enemy Taka starts with his X-Retsu and he uses his ultimate to get into the fight. You drop a trap right away, and that Taka will, if he uses his B ability and throws a box on himself, it'll light the Taka up for a couple more seconds, like 2 or 3 more seconds. So you can get an attack in to get that box off him. Or if you have an extra flare on you as the roamer, try and cut off one of his paths. So if he's in a 2-sided bush, or let's say this lane right here, there's only 2 real exits. If you think he's going to jump back towards his team, you flare towards his team. If you think he's going to, maybe you have a trap back this way to protect it. But you want to try and flare and keep flares on you to counter that enemy Taka, because that's one way to shut him down real well, is keep a flare on him, or drop a trap immediately when he enters the fight on top of his positioning, just to keep yourself and your team alive a little bit longer. It is very important to do certain things that you don't see a lot of people do, because you want to give your team that advantage. And that small advantage of an extra flare or an extra scout trap could be the difference between your laner living and dying. So guys, this is a video from myself, G's Monster. I really wanted to put this out there because I think it's very important that you guys see a different side of things. Now, I'm just going to show you through the different areas of the scout traps that we've done over these last couple minutes, just so you guys see them. And then we're going to go up to the lane ones as well. Just some food for thought, guys. I'm G's Monster. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe below. Let me know what your thoughts are on this video. Till next time, everybody, turn up